So there's something very particular about My Hero that I think makes the show very popular. I think it's one of the reasons that it's very well considered one of the best gateway anime. I think that's the case for very good reason. And while that does make it good for people who've never seen an anime or a show of that kind of type, at the same time, someone who is definitely not crazily experienced, but a little bit more experienced than maybe someone who's just getting into anime, it makes me actually hate it a lot of the time. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves here and everyone misunderstands my overall opinion of the series, I'd like to say I just finished my first rewatch of the series. I watched it when Season 2 was airing for the first time and then kept up with it. Kind of dropped it for a little while, but then I caught up and I just did a full rewatch. And I have to say, it's a very good show. I think it's a solid 8 out of 10. Would it be one of my favorite shows? I don't think so. I don't think it would make top 10, but I think it's very good for sure. Generally speaking, I don't think there's anything about the show that particularly makes me dislike it. It's just this one thing that I kind of honed in on my second time watching it. I was just seeing this trend over and over and over, and every time I was like, why is this happening? Although at the same time, it made me think, you know what, I see how this would attract some viewers. So this thing I'm talking about, the thing that I dislike, which I think makes the show very popular, is this tendency for characters such as All Might and Aizawa. Those are the two biggest perpetrators for sure. There's others, but those are the two biggest ones, mainly because of their positions in the show. They will basically either actually say this, or at least say in their minds, how a character is either developing, or it will give some kind of explanation as to their character. While this can be fine in the right context, and often in My Hero it is done in a good way, a lot of the time it's not. Like, for example, when All Might is facing Deku and Bakugo in the end of the second season, he does this thing where he kind of explains the differences between Deku and Bakugo, why they're always fighting. He's just thinking in his head this whole thing, which honestly is pretty apparent to me. So you have me sitting here like, yeah, no shit, All Might. I have 2 eyeballs. I've been following the series. It's pretty apparent why Deku and Bakugo don't get along with each other so well. So it begs the question, why exactly would Horikoshi decide to have something like this happen so frequently? Why are things like this being explained to me when I can clearly infer what's going on? But upon further thought, maybe this actually is a good thing for a particular type of viewer. Maybe someone isn't really doing all this inferring whenever they're watching a series. They're kind of just letting the fun stuff flash before their eyes, and they don't look too much into things. They don't think about the emotional parts behind characters and whatnot. So if we take a second to have one of the more experienced characters, you could call them, just kind of lay it out there for them, really give them an idea, tell them something they weren't already thinking about, then they can really enjoy that as well. They think, oh wow, yeah, that really is cool. Going forward, I like this character a lot more. While I'm not particularly a fan of this technique that Horikoshi uses when he likes to basically spoon-feed what's going on with different characters, I can see how it would definitely have some advantages, and it's definitely not the end of the world for me, so maybe it is a decent move. Additionally, I will say that there are many particular moments in this series where he does it in the exact way that I would like him to. Probably my favorite example ever would be when Bakugo has been captured and Aizawa is at a press conference and tells the media that if they believe that the League of Villains has a shot of converting Bakugo to the dark side, then they are very much not thinking correctly, because that is not how Bakugo works at all. While I suppose it's possible that Horikoshi's objective there is to basically just have the same effect, it's not quite the same as him just thinking this in his mind. He is standing up to the media. He is taking it both to them and the League of Villains. And I think that's definitely awesome. Plus, you have the bonus of Bakugo actually having seen him do that. Bakugo's Bakugo, so I don't know exactly, but I like to imagine that he would have gained a little bit of respect for Aizawa for sure. Other good, more recent and smaller examples would be anytime Endeavor is thinking about Shoto. He's kind of changed a little bit now, right? He's kind of starting to realize, maybe I've been a little bit of an asshole. He kind of thinks about Shoto and the way that he's developing and whatnot. That's a lot different because really Endeavor is thinking about his relationship with Shoto. So it makes a lot more sense for him to be thinking about this in his mind. Also, for the record, not that it matters at all whatsoever, I just would like to mention, though, that I do generally refer to him as Todoroki, but since I'm talking about Endeavor as well, and he's also Todoroki, I just think that Shoto made sense here. But yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts as I was watching the series. I kept thinking this thing, I'm like, I kind of want to make a video on this because it's really weird. It's something I don't particularly like, but I could definitely see why this would make My Hero so popular. I would most certainly not attribute this to Horikoshi being a bad writer or anything like that. I think that he is doing this on purpose. He's shown that he's capable of doing it in a very good way, like I've shown some examples of, but I think that it also is kind of a strategical move to do it in the other way as well, which I'm not as much of a fan of, but it definitely will pull in a much bigger audience, which at the end of the day, depending on what your objective is as a writer, is going to be a good thing a lot of the time. And like I said, I'm definitely a fan of the show, so if that's what he needs to do to keep the money rolling in so he can keep producing this at a high level of quality and pretty frequently, then more power to him. Sounds good to me. Good deal. So that's all I really had to say on this topic. Talking more specifically about my channel, I do intend to start uploading a lot more frequently. Currently, I am aiming for a minimum of 2 videos a week. I would like to do 3, but let's just say 2 for now. I always get ahead of myself. Additionally, I do plan to live stream tonight. I think I'm going to be starting at 8 p.m., so if you'd like to tune into that, that will be going on. What I'm thinking is I'm just going to be pulling some people from the Discord server that I have created. The link to that, if you want to check it out, is in the description below. We're just going to be talking in VC about anime. I might specifically drag some topics in there if there's going to be any show in particular, or series in particular, I should say, we're going to be talking about. It'd probably be One Piece, but generally we kind of just go back and forth between lots of different series. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to leave me a comment letting me know what you thought about the video. Maybe you never thought about this, it was something cool. Maybe you just hate that I brought this up, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I always like hearing what you guys have to say. Regardless of if you want to watch the live stream or not, definitely do check the link in the description below to the Discord. The Discord is super fun, and like I've said to a lot of the members that I talk to frequently, it honestly is my #1 motivation for making YouTube videos now. That's not how it started out, but it's a really fun place, and it's really cool when there's new faces coming in all the time. Maybe even some drama happens once in a while. It gets pretty interesting. So if I'm able to generate more traffic from my channel, then I know that more people will be coming into the Discord, which is a huge, huge, huge motivation for me to make videos. So definitely click the link and just talk to us, I guess. People are there to talk for sure. With all that being said, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have an excellent rest of your day.